what are we watching today?
Something in French with English subtitles.
Oh, yeah. Hey, good lovers! It's another episode of Bad Bitch BDSM Reviews, where I, a real-life kinkster, invite a friend and colleague, also a real-life kinkster, to watch kinky movies, react, and review to them. Who are you, friend?
I am Kinky Cupcake.
Awesome. And we're watching Belle de Jour with Catherine Deneuve, who probably, I think most Americans would probably best know her as the main vampire character in the 1980s film The Hunger, which, if you haven't seen, is super fantastic, and David Bowie's in it. It's just so good. It's so goth and it's so gay. I love it.
I will have to check that one out.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So Belle de Jour is the story of a woman who has these really intense fantasies of submission and degradation, and she kind of starts living a double life, working in a brothel during the day while her husband is at work, so that she can explore her fantasies. And yeah, that's the premise. So and it's gonna get weird, of course, because it's kink and it's French.
I love it. That's right on my alley.
Yeah, it's gonna get weird. So, all right, Criterion Collection. So you know it's gonna be fancy and artistic. Belle de Jour is the story of a young housewife who has difficulty finding intimacy with her husband. Meanwhile, she also has very extreme fantasies about sadomasochism, bondage, and degradation. She decides to work at a brothel to explore these fantasies and begins to lead a double life. We see her go through many different scenarios, some of which are real, some of which are fantasies, and some of which are difficult to tell. And in the end, we can only guess at what she may be thinking and what is real, what is fantasy. So that's Belle de Jour, 1967, leaving you with a feeling of, what?
Yeah. Was he really paralyzed? Was that a dream?
That's the thing. It's I don't know. Yeah, that's it's is she now having her little fantasy about him being better because she is sad about him being hurt, or was he not hurt, and that whole other thing was a fantasy? Was all I don't know. The second time around watching this, especially the whole thing with Yusan telling on her at the end, it's was this a big elaborate cuckold fantasy? Yeah, it's so wild and very enigmatic. Second time I watched it, still have no idea, but I definitely noticed more themes this time.
Yeah, there's definitely something about cats
and
bells.
Avec la froideur disparaisse.
Ne me parle plus de ça, je te prie.
Mais je voulais pas te fâcher.
Pierre, je t'en supplie, lâche pas les chats.
Bénédicte, je fais entrer les chats. Allez au diable avec vos chats.
Interrupt your weird ritual about the cats.
J'ai soif.
Bells?
And a cat. Yeah, which is interesting because I don't know if you've seen I don't know if you're into horror or not. If you've seen the Hellraiser movies, it's a horror franchise that also deals with kind of some BDSM elements. And when the Cenobites, who are these otherworldly beings, whenever they're going to appear, they're also kind of heralded by the sound of bells.
Okay.
So it made me think of that, and it's just Yes, it's like do the bells signify when she is fantasizing? Like, is the bell like a symbol for almost for like her subconscious, like just the thoughts that we carry in the back of our mind? Um, yeah, yeah, weird. But I would love to hear your thoughts on it. As confused as they probably are, because mine definitely are.
Yes, definitely confused, but definitely like relatable to it. The shift between like living these two separate lives because of the guilt or shame of these kinks and fantasies that we carry. Um, Definitely that relates. Being like newer into this world definitely like relates. Just noticing like I don't know, like her little like that after that first time, like the switch was flipped in her head. She was like, "Oh, I really enjoy this."
C'est un début? Et attention, hein. Moi, pour ces trucs-là, j'ai le nez, hein. Faut pas me raconter des histoires. Là, si c'est vrai, il n'y a pas à avoir honte, hein. Si tu me raconteras pas qu'à ton âge, t'es encore plus saine, et ils vont me dire ça tout de suite. Eh ben, c'est moi qui fais peur. Il y a une tête qui te revient pas. Faudra t'y habituer, mon petit bonhomme. Non, pas ça, tu vas pas t'appeler comme ça. Non, mais dis, tu te prends pour qui, espèce de petite salope? Tu commences à m'exciter, puis tu me laisses en rade. Les chichis, ça va bien demain. Et là, j'en ai ras le bol. Là. Voilà. C'est mieux ça. Alors, c'est la manière forte qui te trouve?
And so like that definitely I can relate to for sure.
Right. Yeah, that like feeling like a longing and like almost like a fascination with something, but also being afraid of it. And then yeah, finally like some level of exposure or something that makes you go like, oh,
Yes.
I just learned something about myself.
And then you're like constantly craving that thing about yourself.
And
you're now like, I don't know, eager to learn more and do all the things and learn all the things.
Right. Yeah.
But also possibly putting yourself in questionable, dangerous situations.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like there's a term in the community, sub frenzy, where like when someone is like newly discovering kink, and then yeah, they want to try everything. They want to do all the things and feel like they need to like push and go farther each time, and yeah, and it can lead to like putting yourself in questionable situations, dangerous situations. And yeah, this film is like a good metaphor for that that experience for sure. Yeah. And then also yeah, that like separation of love and lust. I know I've personally known quite a few people, and I've coached people who like have these very kinky tendencies, these fantasies, and when they're single, they'll explore them, express them. They'll go to parties or like find casual play partners to enact with, or they'll go see professionals or what have you. But then when they get into like committed romantic relationship, they turn that part off for themselves, and like they hide it because they're like closeted, and so they like hide it away, and they're very vanilla in their romantic relationships because it's like it feels like they can't have both in one, which makes me a little sad regularly. Like I know I've ladies that I've coached with, I was like, no, you can have both. You can have like love and kink in the same relationship, and you can be like, okay, if you enjoy degradation or humiliation from either side, giving it or getting it, like you can enjoy that, and with someone that you love and respect, and that loves and respects you. In fact, that's better, because then you're going to be mindful and safe with each other too. Yeah, but I think there's especially like at this time, like the like late 60s and stuff, where there is even more stigma around such things. Even just like simple, well, things that we would consider like simple or like basic today, like going down on someone or something could be seen as like very, very edgy, and that's not something that you ask your wife to do because you respect her and she's the mother of your child or what have you.
And I laugh because people think that way, even still to this day.
Right.
People think that way.
Yeah, and so like there's the sex that they want to be having isn't what they're having with the people they want to be with, because there's this big like chasm between love and lust, and I guess that chasm would be shame.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely sad.
it is. Yeah,
And I think, well, just from like me diving a little deep into all of this, I think it's a little bit more accepted nowadays.
Mhm.
Like, I obviously don't know what it was back then, but I feel like the majority of people who, like, I will open that door or drop a hint, 90% of people are like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool.
Mhm.
Like, they're very like open to it or supportive of it.
Right. Yeah. Even if they're not into it themselves, they are able to be like, oh, okay.
Cool, you like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. Yeah. You like that, and that's cool. Or even, I wouldn't enjoy that, but I can see why someone else would. This is the place I try to get to with most things, even like certain fetishes and things that I'm like, nope, that's definitely a red for me for whatever reason. Being able to understand why someone else might be into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we definitely have come a long way.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's definitely still people who either have to live a double life, or even if the double life isn't like a literal double life, there's like the second life going on
Mm-hmm.
in their heads.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do we think she integrated it all towards the end?
Yes.
Yeah.
A friend ratted her out about her second life.
Yeah.
And maybe because of that information, it was a miracle so he could walk again.
Yes.
That part.
I like that. The fact that she like heard the bells like while she's with him. Yeah, that kind of makes me, and it seems like there was some kind of progression going on between them throughout, like, you know, her regularly saying like, I feel closer to you each time. That, yeah, maybe they did find a way of like integrating it, those two drives of like, you know, like tender, compassionate love and like lust and passion. Like, I hope they figure it out.
I hope so too.
I hope they figure it out. Yeah. And the friend is an asshole, frankly.
Yeah, he's not the coolest character.
Yeah. And the letter writing thing was really confusing.
Yeah, and then the receipt, I'll be forced to give you a receipt. And what did she say?
She's
Like, that's what I would expect.
yeah. Yeah, and again, like that was a really unclear moment of, was this fantasy or not? Because he was always kind of hitting on her, and she was always so like, ugh, towards him.
I mean, what are you gonna do with a broken bottle underneath the table?
Right? Yeah. So confusing. Definitely. Yeah, I definitely think there's some idioms and some innuendos in there that
have to be like mistranslated.
Yeah, or they just don't translate over well. And the cats.
Yeah, the cat out of the bag, and then let the cats in or something like that.
Yeah, and then the sound of the meowing cats with the bells at the end.
I'm glad we both noticed it all though. Like, it has to. That's just not random.
Right? Yeah, like that was a choice.
There's no way that those things are random.
Yeah, like that's someone took the time to make the Foley, the recording of cats meowing, and put it on there. So that was definitely a decision that was made.
Couldn't tell you why.
Couldn't tell you why. I know it's probably just a, you know, time frame fashion thing, but like all of them gushing over her super boring, unflattering beige dress. I'm just like, it's not that great. The red outfit near the end.
Yes.
I loved that one. And yeah, the black and white. It's like almost like a kind of Wednesday Addams type dress, only like a little bit elevated because like the collar is like kind of a satiny material or whatever. Like those were great.
Mhm.
Those were great, and I always loved fashion in older movies. But like, I don't know, there was a weird part of '60s fashion that it's kind of, I don't know, like I find kind of ugly.
I think we have that for every era of fashion.
That's true. Yeah, that definitely is true. Like you just look and you're like, what were they thinking?
Yeah. Speaking of fashion, I did notice, I mean, nowadays you think of a dom with the, the fake leather and the heels and the hair up, like very like principal-esque, teacher-esque presentation. And I thought that she was presenting that a lot of the time in this movie.
True. And the fact that her name is Severin, which it means like stern or severe.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, like, yeah, Severin, severe. Yeah, the fact that her name means that
Interesting.
would lead you to think that she'd be on the other side of the slash, that she would want to
Yeah.
be dominant. I know in the book Venus in Furs, it's a like piece of like classic erotica, and it's about like femdom male submission, and like it was written by Leopold von Sacher-Masoch, which is where we get the term masochism from. And the main character in the book, his name is Severin, so it's like the masculinized version of Severin. So again, you have a submissive character whose name means severe, stern. Just an interesting like little flip there. And I'm not sure if they took, whoever like wrote this maybe took that from it, if it like influenced it in any way. I know that Belle de Jour, both the name Belle de Jour and the name Severine have been influences for names of other characters in like some movies and shows, but it's curious to see how far back that might go.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Especially that last outfit, it was very. I mean, the guy says like schoolgirl, precocious schoolgirl, but it does, yeah. Especially with the very, very tidy French twist.
Yes.
It is very like headmistress, principal, and she was in a caretaker role at that point too, which tends to be. Well, I mean, can be seen. Caretaking can be dominant or submissive, really, but like all of those pieces together. It's my alarm telling me it's time to take my afternoon meds. Take your meds on time. Remember to take your meds on time. It's also these we have to wrap up. So, final thoughts.
I
Takeaways?
enjoyed it.
Good. Yeah.
I liked it.
Awesome.
Especially because I can relate so much to it right now. It was good.
Cool.
I can't tell you the last time I watched a movie from 1967 with subtitles.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. And the older films tend to be a little more slower paced than the movies that we watch now.
I liked it. I don't see a lot of old movies, and I kind of liked being at a slower pace and like just kind of like being sucked into like this slow storyline, and then, I mean, it confused the shit out of us at the end, but
Yeah, very confusing. Kind of slow burn, and then like
Huh?
the drama suddenly picks up, and then it gets really confusing. Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Good, cool, awesome. I love old movies. So, where can my viewers, my listeners, if they wanted to follow you, where would the good lovers find you or any of your offerings? If you have pluggables to plug.
Right now I am on Twitter and Instagram as Kupcake, Kinky Cupcake with K's, and also OnlyFans
Awesome.
as Kinky Cupcake, Cupcake with a K.
Sweet, great. And of course, as usual, all of those links will be in the description box, so that you can easily find my guests. Thank you so much for joining me and for bringing your super adorable friend who was so well behaved.
He's like, it's nap time.
Amazing. Awesome.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah. All right. Till next time, keep on good loving.